No
Stay there
worries.
real quick. Stay
All
there
right.
real quick.
Wait, what?
Oh, it looks like it's live.
Are we live?
Looks like it.
Are we doing things on the internet? that-
We are. I can see it. We're live on the Neon channel.
Hooray!
Would you look at
Great.
that?
We make a new go live tweet
Oh,
so
boy.
people know we're live.
Yes.
Why
If you want to, I will retweet yours this time.
Yeah, let me do it.
Ads. How
We're
am
having
I
a great
supposed
night.
to adjust audio?
Hi, everybody. Ladies, gentlemen, those divine beings that transcend the binary. It's one of those nights, but we are here. I hope you all have had a good Saturday, a good week so far. Welcome to episode 2 of Chimeriad.
Woohoo.
Oh boy. If I didn't have a headache before, I do have a headache now.
Oh no, Snarf. I actually bought this most amazing thing. It's the ugliest cap that you put in the freezer. It's just like an ice pack that you put on your
Okay.
head.
No,
It's so
those
nice.
those things are magic. My roommate and I both get chronic migraines, and we have 2 of them because God forbid we both get a migraine at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Mm.
They're amazing.
Yeah, no, exactly. I also
called
get
the
chronic
headache cap.
migraines.
Okay.
Mine is pink, so when I put it on, it just it looks so bad.
We have a black one and a blue one, so it's not quite as creepy.
Okay. All right. I will do my best to track down a flesh toned one.
God.
Um,
Yeah, I'm glad that it's not like actually my skin tone, but it's pretty close to it. So I actually refer to it as my penis hat. So
No, I want one.
oh, hey, we can. Oh no, never mind.
What happened?
No, I saw a different thing. I am not looking where I'm supposed to be looking. I should be looking at only faces. Never mind. I have scared my own self, y'all. I have scared my own self.
It happens.
I'm going to try not to scare you all too much tonight.
I don't believe you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
me
was...
neither. We started out pretty hard last time, so
I mean, the starting wasn't scary.
that's true.
True.
The ending, however, might be, well, we'll talk about that in a moment, but I want to welcome everybody who's coming in. Real quick, though, there are a couple of content warnings I do want to give, just things that may be upsetting in the unintended way, because there is an intentional thing, and then there's unintentional things. So, very, very quickly, I want to make sure that people who want or
Our face has disappeared, Snarf.
I guess we're
That's weird.
We're back.
All right.
we're learning things.
Technology.
I just wanted to pop out the chat. Sorry.
No, not allowed. You can't do that. You'll
Okay.
just have to.
I'm not touching anything. Everything's fine. I'm not touching a damn thing. Oh boy.
All right, sorry, Ark, you were saying something.
Yes, content warnings. First content warning, of course, is going to be for technology attacking humans. That's not like a in-game thing. That's an actual like stream. Is fighting us.
Okay.
Like, drink
Oh,
some water. Stream's got hands.
In bad news, they approved Mr. Musk's Eurolink nonsense. So literal technology in your brain.
Oh.
Oh.
15
I-
out of 17 of his test subjects have died, so definitely it's fine for human trials. Yep.
I can only hope that it's just his fanboys that do it.
Well,
Okay.
Maybe
Anyways,
the
some could
cause of
change.
deaths were unrelated.
I didn't think I had built a more ethical world than the one I lived in. That was not intentional. Okay, cool. Actual content warnings. We are going to be doing some combat today, so the things that go in with that, there will probably be some description of injuries, perhaps some blood and gore. For that, I will not be going overboard if I can help it on that, though. There will also be some sounds and descriptions of bodily fluids. Um, Again, not trying to go overboard, but it will be in there just in case. Want to make sure everybody is okay.
I'm good.
And that is also for those of you who are. This is not just for my players. This is also for those of you watching at home or maybe outside. Maybe you're watching our streams while you're, out and about and doing things. Yes, I said bodily fluids. But okay, with that out of the way, let's in my Christian Minecraft server. Let's return to the place that we left. It was a place that seems to be more than what it lets on. It's supposed to be just a simple mine. It's supposed to be a place where people fight the earth itself for those materials and those natural resources that allow humans to seed the natural. Yet, even with the machinery, with the pickaxes, with the tools and contraptions that men have made with their hands, the least natural thing is what descends as two of you approach.
Oh boy, one of those is me, isn't it?
At the end of last stream, Carrie was running to go check on her beloved automaton. Lucy, if I remember the name correctly. Am I remembering that correctly, Lucy?
Lucy, yeah.
Should check
It's
my notes.
Lucy.
Double checked. It is okay. It is Lucy. Good, good. I have a bunch of names in my notes. Want to make
I
sure
don't
I have the
even
right
think
one.
it's an automaton. I think it's just a nice big machine.
I'm being very generous here. It is.
It's an automaton to her.
Yes.
To her, yes.
It's a family member, and it can be argued that sense flies out the window when you see a family member in danger. And so, not looking up, not giving any care for what's happening, Carrie runs straight through the opening and into the area of the mine that had just collapsed, the area that miners had suffered supposedly grievous injuries in. And under the pale yellowish gray mass directly above it, and she didn't see the long tendrils reaching down. But she did hear and feel as the rock gave way. And the mass descended, falling in front of the passageway she had just gone through. And as it seemed to right itself on these sort of stubby, almost arm-like tentacles, it turned to look at the other two people who had advanced a little bit faster. That would be, last I checked, Tamsin and our
Indeed.
investigator friend, Halsey. And I believe both Reizu and Dr. Yana are cavorting a little bit more.
Promenading.
Promenading, yes, that is the word, yes. Promenading a little bit more at a relaxed pace behind.
As slowly as possible.
As slowly as possible. Well, let's find out how slowly that is. I would like Sphinx and Bailey for you both to give me just a straight roll. Give me a straight roll.
-2.
We're off to a
Okay.
great start.
Please do better.
That'd be a -1.
-1. That's not too bad. That's fine. That's fine. It'll be a little bit of time before you all make it to your destination. We'll get to that. But right now, it is only Halsey and Tamsin in front of this thing. It's difficult to tell with the shift of the rock. Some of the illumination that had been hung in place has gone out and given way. And it's almost as if the wall to the back of this moving thing is shrouded in a cloak of darkness. But the light coming from behind you does allow you to make out what looks, in a lot of ways, like almost like a hand. There's a thick mass at the bottom as this thing rights itself, and then there are 3 tendrils about as thick around as a man's body that are just kind of up and out.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is it gooey? Is this like a gooey tentacle monster? Or is it a dry tentacle monster?
It. Thank you. It appears to be dry.
Dry.
It is not gooey. It's this
Well,
sort of
that's
a
something at
leathery.
least.
Small mercies, I know. There's a sort of dry, almost leathery texture it seems to have as you look at it. And you do notice that there are these, what looks like little slits or openings running along those. Almost like little lipless mouths that are pursed closed.
Ew.
Why this arc?
Why? It's a horror campaign. I did mention that. I
I
hope
keep
so.
forgetting.
I'll give you a little reminder here and there. For those at home, usually when you do when you run a combat, or really when you run any sort of scene, you try to make sure that you give your players a list of field aspects. These aspects are things that are true about the world and can be called upon by the players by spending fate points. Hence, fate core. For these, you have darkened cavern as one of your aspects. And you also have active mine as the other one.
Gotcha.
Okay. Can I read some intent from this thing?
Absolutely. Go ahead. Feel free to do that. Some people will opt for different ways of doing initiative. For my own self, I generally tend to go players, then non-players. And whatever order I think makes the most sense afterward. Because it's nice to give the players something every once in a while.
Are we in initiative?
I would like to jump into initiative, yes. But this works a little bit differently than, say, D&D or Pathfinder. So initiative doesn't necessarily mean that we are going straight into combat. It just means that we are keeping an eye on the order of things.
All right. What am I rolling?
What are you looking for?
Intent.
Okay. Then I believe you are going to want to roll an empathy to try and figure out what the feeling is from that thing. I will also say that you can probably also roll investigate, just to see if you can piece together sort of a logic behind the motions it seems to be making right now.
Before I do that, do I get an instinctual reading from my backstory?
Oh, yeah, that thing.
My mother was a tentacle monster. I know this.
I think that there is a feeling. There are two feelings, I think. There's an overall sort of negative sense, kind of like coming across somebody who used to if you remember that kid in school who used to always get in your nerves, and you come across them again at this 20-year reunion or something like that. If you haven't seen them before, sort of that lingering, I don't really care for this. There's also a feeling of familiarity, a feeling that this is something that isn't entirely unfamiliar or alien to the senses somehow.
Okay. I will go for the insight check. The
Okay.
empathy check.
Sounds good.
Or I can do investigate.
Yes, so you
Right.
can do empathy to try and see if you can get some sort of an emotional sense of what's going on here. But you can also make an investigation check to see if you can kind of piece together what seems to be like the logical next step for whatever this thing is.
5.
Okay. For investigate.
Yes.
All right. With a 5, that is a success, but not a success with style. The creatures seem to be reaching for Carrie as she ran under it, which leads you to believe that it is moving towards. Yes, I just saw that. Is moving towards the last motion it had a sense of. So, with that, it does seem to have some ability to sense where people are and seems to be attracted by that motion. What that means exactly is still up for debate, I believe. But
I would turn to Tamsin.
Tamsin. Yeah.
Tamsin. I'll go. I think I'm gonna shoot it.
I think I'm going to stab it. Let's see who gets there first.
I shoot.
Can I also stab?
yes, okay. Another fate note. Usually, rather than having specific squares to move in, as some other games do, you'll have zones, so you can move into adjacent zones to the one that you're in. In this case, it is a zone away from you, but you can move into that zone and take your action.
Yes. I would like to stab.
Okay. I'm going to assume that the bullet gets there first.
Yeah,
if
probably.
it gets there. So, Halsey, please give me a shoot roll.
Oh, also, we had a subscriber give us a +2 to the first roll for this, so
Yes. Thank you. Well, why am I saying thank you? I wanna do some stuff.
Allie Peach, senpai.
Thank you, thank you. Hopefully, this will help us not die immediately.
Thank you.
There's also another one.
Egg Chan also gave 1, so maybe Tamsin and Halsey won't die.
Okay. All right.
Next, that.
Well, Halsey first.
All right, I'm gonna shoot. I rolled a 0.
Okay.
I have a +4 to shoot. I have a stunt that if I initiate combat, it's a +2 to shoot.
Okay.
So right now we're at 6, and with Ali Peach Sensei's +2, which I will gladly take, that's an 8.
All right. Look what you did, Ollie. Look what you did.
Thank you.
That bullet fires out of that barrel at very, very high speed, and impacts against the flesh of this thing. And you can see that it hits, and you don't hear so much as a roar as it is sort of a loud, pronounced, sort of digesting sound. Kind of like when your stomach is empty and grumbling. But you do hit pretty hard. That's a success with style.
Can I? That's either 2 damage or something else.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to roll dice. Yeah. No, it's the same thing. Yes, it's success with style.
I'll
that
say...
ends up being. I'd need to give you the number. That ends up being 6 shifts of damage that you deal.
I would like to move that down and say maybe it drops from where it is a little bit to make it easier for a melee strike.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. So this thing is still trying to get its sort of right itself, it looks like, kind of rotating and turning so that it can, I guess, reach into the place that Carrie had just gone into.
Speaking of Carrie.
Speaking of Carrie. And
1 sec, Smurf. We're just going to change the cameras, everyone. Don't worry.
Got it. Continue.
I no longer control things.
I am in control now. I am the GM. Anyway, sorry, Ark.
No worries. Okay, so
Tamsin
Snarf
really wants to stab this.
Oh, Tamsin will get a chance to do just that. It's much better at other things. So Snarf, Halsey shoots at the base of this thing, sort of where it's trying to push up against the ground and do that rotation, and fires out and you sort of see it like slide against the ground a little bit. And this sort of, actually, I don't have to give that much of an explanation because you've seen this substance before, I think. When Dr. Yana was cleaning her hands after removing the thing that she showed you, it seemed to have a similar sort of consistency and coloration, and unfortunately smell to what you had, what you're seeing now, which is, it's an unpleasant smell, and I'll leave it at that.
All
6
right.
shifts of damage. Okay.
See, there's the goo. I knew there was goo.
There's always goo.
Just go on the inside. It's supposed to be on the inside. That's what. You know what? That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, I see. I deactivated my camera. I didn't stop the stream. Okay. All right. Continue. It'll
There we
it'll
go.
get fixed. It'll get fixed.
You got it. You good. You good.
Oh,
you
it's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see you, my friend. All right. Look at you and your success. Look at you and your success. Now, let's see what we can do about that. But before we see what we can do about that, this thing has slipped down. I take it you are creating an aspect with that.
Yes.
Okay. So the creature is currently the aspect off kilter now exists and can be tapped in for a +2 or a reroll, same way that you would use for a fate point. And I think roughly as this thing slips over and sort of thuds to the ground with a sort of stomach gurgling sound is when Tamsin gets to it.
Cool. I would like to stab.
Absolutely. Go ahead, give me a
Do I
roll.
roll fight? Is that what I'm rolling?
Yes, you are rolling fight, and it
Cool.
is rolling athletics to try and defend. What if?
I have the +2 from the person in chat. Thank you, thank you.
Mhm.
And I
Egg-chan!
Question: is Carrie being attacked by this thing? Did we establish that?
I will say yes for purposes. You all seem
For purposes.
because it was reaching for Carrie as she ran under it.
Okay, I have a stunt called Leave My Friends Alone that gives me a +2 to attack with fight when my opponent's most recent action was to attack one of my allies.
I will say that it applies here. Yes.
Wonderful. So I get to add 4 to whatever I roll here. Let's see how it goes. That is, that's a minus. Well, okay, hold on. 1, 0, -1.
Okay.
Plus 4 ends up being 3.
Okay. Does
There's
that
a-
include the +2 from Eggchan?
Well, because +4. Oh wait, I forgot to add what my fight modifier is. So it's
Yeah.
actually, it's actually a 6.
Cool. I like rolling the same thing on my side. So that's gonna be 4 shifts of. It's gonna be 4 shifts of.
Shifts are the damage, right?
Yes.
I'm very new at
Yes.
Fate.
Shifts is how you we're dealing damage. I should talk about that. We don't.
A teaching
Fate.
experience.
Yes. Fate doesn't use traditional HP. It gives you stress and consequence. So there's physical stress when you would deal with something that might be injury, or it could be something that would cause you to be physically stressed, like say trying to climb a mountain or taking part in a race or something like that. Whereas mental stress is what we deal with every day under capitalism. I think we all know what mental stress is. So when your mental stress and your physical stress go over what your boxes can allow, that's when you take consequences. In this case, it's a lot of consequences floating around. I am not a fan. So once the once the stress gets over what, if you take stress that would be over what you can put in your stress boxes, you suffer a consequence. In this, I have to mention that to you. The 2 consequences so far, because this is 2 that it suffered. One of the consequences is gunshot wound, because that makes sense. And the other is stab wound, because that also makes sense.
A very well placed and
Ooh.
flourishy stab wound, I would
Yes.
add.
What does it look like when Tamsin's cutting into this thing? What's her combat style like?
Tamsin is a fencer and quite flourishy and acrobatic one at that. So when she goes to attack this thing, she sort of leaps forward, sort of springs into the air, and stabs directly into it, like skewers it.
Absolutely. Are you aiming for the same portion of the body as was shot first, or do you want to aim for a different part of the body?
Tamsin would be aiming for center mass.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So you. I apologize. Tamsin's blade slides in very, very easily. It does, despite the texture and despite the obvious weight that it seems to have. It doesn't feel as though there's any sort of resistance as her blade is going through, or when she pulls it back out.
Creepy.
That means I did my job.
I think Tamsin will literally look at Halsey and go, "Don't like this thing."
Nope, not at all. Not at all. Aim for the thing that, yeah. Aim for aim.
I think I did.
You did
Yeah.
it. You did. Aim for where you're aiming.
It doesn't seem to have much to it.
Okay. Is that all for Halsey and Tamsin?
Yeah. Trying to find the fixating on features. Just I don't even know what I'm looking at.
It does not seem to have terribly many distinguishing features right now.
I'd say the tentacles are distinguishing.
Yeah.
Distinct. They're distinct.
Is this like coming from a space arc? Like, where's its origin? Looks like its origin is coming from.
It seemed to have been, I guess, perched on the wall somehow, like almost like a kind of like an anemone, like attached.
Okay.
And then came loose as it was trying to reach down for Carrie. Which, speaking of, Carrie, you sort of had blinders on as you were running straight through to Lucy, and didn't really notice what was around you or above you, I think, until after it fell to the ground reaching for you. In this moment, do you think, well, tell me, what do you think she would be doing in this moment?
Was I able to get to Lucy?
You can continue on to Lucy. She is 2 zones away from you right now, so you could use your turn to move. Actually, no, because one of those, no, it would be 1 zone away from where the current zone you're in. So you can either sort of stay and deal with whatever just fell down behind you, or continue on to Lucy.
Continue on to Lucy.
Okay.
I have blind going. I don't see what's going around.
Fair enough. Do you want to, once you get there, you can also take an action. So what do you want to do?
I'm going to get there and make sure she's okay.
Sounds good. Give me either a crafts roll to just give it a once over, or a notice check to see, kind of give it a visual inspection.
Okay. Let me see what I have. Crafts, that's 4, so I'm gonna do crafts. And let me pull up the dice roller. Okay, and I will click to roll. I got a 0, but I have a 4, so is that 4?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, with a 4, you give this, and you said for crafts, right?
Yes.
Okay. You give it a full inspection. You kind of, I think Carrie probably gives an extra bit of attention to the portions that had the rock lodged in it beforehand, just because that might be sort of the last place that something was wrong, and so that might be the first place she looks. Doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it whatsoever. But I do think, however, that it does occur to her to sort of, there's like a tray that was installed so that kind of catches some of the stuff that's flying around, kind of in a way meant to keep random bits and bobs of stone and ore from getting lodged in places it doesn't belong. And she does, think to take that and, empty that out because it wasn't emptied out beforehand. And there's this sort of strange, like, it's not quite an orb, in that it's sort of like bumpy and round, a little bit lumpy, but it's a very strange rock that's in there along with the rest of the stuff that you see that looks like the rock that's been mined here so far.
I'm gonna pick up the strange bit of ore
Mm-hmm.
and just put the rest of the rock in the pile of rock I'm sure is around there.
Absolutely. Let's add that as an aspect. Piles of rock.
Okay.
You do have the freedom to add whatever aspects you need to as a game master. So, for anybody who's wondering where'd that come from, you can just add stuff. It's okay. And last but not least, how's that promenade going?
Oh, it's lovely. Thanks for asking.
I would like from the from the two of you either a notice check to see if you pick out any of the sounds, or go with an investigate to see if you kind of put together what might be going on or some possible ideas of what might be going on.
I have investigate.
Is there a chance we didn't hear that gunshot?
There's zero chance you didn't hear the gunshot. You definitely heard the gunshot.
I got a +1 to investigate.
Okay. Things are happening. That part I think is pretty clear. I don't think there's any new information that Dr. Yana would be getting from that specifically.
3 to my investigate.
Okay. With a 3, however, you know that things are going on. There is a gunshot, but you are also hearing, I think Reizu's picking up on some of the like specifics. Like, this is a part of the mine where there really shouldn't be anything. There are some parts of the mine where, because Reizu's been here a couple of times before, so he knows that there are some parts of the mine that people go through a little bit more frequently. This, however, is back toward a part of the mine that is newer and has yet to be really investigated very thoroughly. So there really shouldn't be anything from there, because nothing's really coming in from that space. There's only things that would be coming out.
Well, I don't know about you, but my mother always taught me to walk away from the sound of gunshots. So,
Funny. Mine said the same.
I don't think she would know this. Would she know the difference between the sound of like Halsey's gun compared to somebody else's?
She might, but I don't think that she would know that from this far out. I think from from the distance between Halsey and Dr. Yana, I think it just sounds like a gunshot.
All right, so either one of our friends has been shot, or things are popping off. So maybe we should approach cautiously.
Probably. What's the lighting situation in the cave right now?
It looks like they have these lamps that are sort of positioned in the wall, kind of awkwardly. They're spaced at an interval so that they can essentially give the maximum amount of light reach with the minimum amount of lighting. Because why would you spend money on proper supplies if you can help it? It all appears to be still like oil lamps, like lanterns essentially. hung from those spaces. Nothing special.
Yeah, let's be careful.
I will take out a scalpel, I guess, to be armed with something.
Okay. It'll cut something.
Oh no.
Is there a hammer or a pickaxe laying around somewhere?
Yes, I will say so. This is where our field aspects come in handy. When you ask questions like that, I would say absolutely that would be active mind.
Yeah. Razor's just gonna take a take a pickaxe and arm himself.
Sounds good to me. While that's happening, though, this thing is righting itself with the two other sort of nubby tentacles that it was pushing up with before, and turns to face the two of you, and will sort of extend one of them and sweep out. I think that the closer person would be Tamsin, so this will be a swing against Tamsin. And you are.
What
Why
do
would it?
I roll to stop getting stabbed?
Yes. So athletics is what you'll usually use to avoid things, but you can also use fight if it is a fight attack, which this one is. This is a fight attack. So you can use athletics or fight.
They're both +3 for me, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Also, did I definitely leave the call because I was trying to unmute myself? Yes.
Those.
All right. Let's. Woo! That's a 3. +3 is 6.
Yeah, that'll do it. That is in fact a success with style on this defense. You will get a boost against this thing. Not that it seems like you need one, but sure.
I'd like to think that Tamsin does some kind of very acrobatic, like, side leap out of the way.
Yeah. How long has Tamsin been fighting?
Since she was a very young child, we will say. Probably since she was like 8 or 9.
Okay. You never ask a person their age, but that's a long time and a lot of fighting. And one of the things that you pick up in a fight is you kind of get a sense of when somebody's holding back a little bit, trying almost to catch you off guard. And so I think that in the moment when that arm swings out, I think that Tamsin probably steps back a little bit more. And that's why the sort of mass of like almost coral-like barbs that protrude from all of those slits just manages to miss her. Oh, it actually doesn't just manage to miss. It misses pretty cleanly. But you can see that as soon as the swing stops, all of those sort of retract back into that whatever this thing's tentacle thing is. Because those are words I use on stream. What is going on with the players? This is in whatever order you all want, so you can choose to switch things up if you'd like.
You want to get payback for the swipe, or?
I mean, yeah, I think Tamsin is pretty well focused on being in a sword fight with a tentacle monster, and would just swipe back at it. I should roll to stab it, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Maybe even roll low. I mean, if you want to.
I don't want
No?
Thanks,
Okay.
thanks for the raid, Sword and Key.
Thank you so much for the raid.
That's a 4.
Cool. That's not a 4. That's a success. Regular success, though.
Did you add the +2 boost?
Oh, I didn't have my +2 because it's not leave my friends alone. Its last action wasn't to attack one of my allies. It was to attack me.
The boost you
that's a good
got
point.
for success with style.
Yes, you do have
Oh.
that boost available to you.
Well, then
I'm sorry.
I didn't know that.
Yes, but there's another thing that I didn't mention. When a entity gains a consequence, that is also a free invoke on that consequence. You treat it as another aspect that you can invoke with a free invoke. So you have currently 2. You have 1 for gunshot wound, and you have 1 for stab wound.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of which are great for me.
Can I invoke the stab wound?
Sure, you can invoke both of them. You can invoke as many as you'd like, as long as they're each different things.
Oh, okay. I'll invoke the fact that it's been shot and stabbed to stab it again.
Yeah.
What do I add to that? Does that add something?
It's +2 for each one.
So that's 4. I won't use my. Do I have to use my 1 for my success with style earlier?
You don't have
Is
to,
it a
but
use
boosts.
it or lose it?
Yeah, it is usually a use it or lose it situation for boosts.
So can I hold it for the next time I stab the thing? If there is a next time?
Well, my recommendation is to use the boost and
Okay.
something else, because the other aspects will still hang around. It will still be
Okay.
shot and stabbed after you're done with whatever you're doing to it.
Alright, so I'm going to use the boost, which adds 2.
Okay.
So then I'm at 6. Is that enough?
Yeah, with
Okay.
how I roll, sure. That is another success with style, because why wouldn't it be?
Okay.
It's 4 shifts of damage, and it gets another consequence. No, does it get another consequence? It does get another consequence. That's cool.
Just call it super stabbed.
I'm gonna go with impaled for that last one.
Definitely classier than super stab.
I beg to differ, Tori, so
All right. At this point, this thing seems to be in pretty bad shape. But it's not a happy camper in the slightest.
Can you remind me of the consequences it currently has?
It currently has gunshot wound, stab wound, and impaled as a new one.
Well, he's having a bad day. Let's make it worse.
If you can. How you plan to make it worse, Halsey?
I'm going to shoot again.
Classic.
Basic attack, number 1. I got a 0 for a +4.
I like this teamwork we've got going on here.
Is there anything... Oh, I'll invoke impaled and maybe try to blast that part a little bit more. So 6 total.
All right. I was doing so well. That is a success. You have any more stank you're trying to put on that before?
I will use a fate point.
Mm-hmm. What are you invoking?
My gunslinger aspect to maybe get a better feel for a better shot, and I'll add +2 to it, so 8.
Okay.
What's up there? You got something on the ceiling?
No, it's not up there. God. God's not up there. Cool. 8 brings it up to... That's still okay. That brings it up to... Okay, so it's a success with style now. 3 shifts of damage.
Okay.
All right. Turns out, the only thing worse than getting shot is getting shot twice. I think that Halsey's second shot blows like a huge chunk of flesh out of the middle. And you can see that there's this sort of network, like a crisscrossing of those same kind of coral barbs that you see that's running a little bit under the sort of in place of where you would expect like thick flesh, you can see that those barbs are sort of crisscrossing there. And Tamsin understands almost immediately why her blade went straight through like that, because it didn't hit any of those barbs when it was going through the first time.
This is the downside of having a very thin, agile blade.
But it looks like it did do some damage because there's sort of like a thicker mass in the middle there, kind of just like a dull brown that's kind of pulsing a little bit more. Tamsin can see it because she's like right up in front of it, probably too close for comfort. It's a little bit easier to hit that thing there, I think, for her than it would be for Halsey. But it is still there. Thank you all for beating up on this poor defenseless. You didn't ask for his name, didn't ask how he was doing. Just
Sphinx and I are joking that it's actually the good guy.
In my defense, one of Tamsin's troubles is being hot-headed, and therefore stabs first and asks questions later.
It took a swing at her friend.
That too.
Speaking of this friend, Carrie, how are things going now that you've pocketed this? And you can hear what sounds like the loudest stomach rumble. Bulls, plural, behind you.
What do I see? What's behind me?
Turn and look, and there's this sort of like grayish yellow, like leathery mass that's kind of just moving in front of the archway behind you.
Oh, well. And then I have to pass that mask to get out.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I made sure Lucy was okay. I got this nice little orb that's really cool. I'm going to just say, excuse me, could you move out of the way, please? I need to get back home.
Okay. What is the goal? Just
to get out. I don't know what's going on. I remember I have.
That makes perfect sense.
This thing is in my way. I want to go.
I guess tentacle monsters could be something you could turn into on your long walk, so maybe it's just normal.
I don't know.
That'd be one hell of a walk, I'll tell you what.
Tamsin would be like, this is a monster that we are fighting, and it did try to kill you. Just to give you a little bit of context here.
If we're in visual line of sight.
Well, so if Carrie's looking at the tentacle monster, Carrie can see Tamsin because Tamsin's
ish. I will say that Carrie can definitely hear around it, but this thing is a pretty solid mass. It'd be very difficult for her to see around it without getting close. It's pretty big. It's kind of the size of like a VW Beetle, maybe. Okay. Pretty big.
How are you feeling about this now, Tamsin?
Tamsin is like, let's go. Tori's like, oh no. But Tamsin would still say to Carrie, we are fighting a tentacle monster that tried to kill you, so bear that in mind, please.
Is there any specific thing that you think that Carrie would do with this information, which may or may not be important? Who knows?
Carrie is just going to. All I can see Carrie doing is trying to find a way past it, because she's not. She's not a fighter.
Understandable. So then
hide.
Could try to hide. But if she's just trying to get past it, may I make a suggestion? My suggestion is going to be either investigate to try and figure out if there's a way that she can get past it, or notice to see if there's a different way that she could get past it than just trying to go through that passageway.
I'm going to do notice.
Okay,
And I have a 3 in notice.
sounds
So
good.
I rolled a +2, so that's 5.
Absolutely. That would be a success. And I think with that, Carrie notices that there's a lot. So it wasn't enough to, I guess, directly to impede her progress forward, but she does notice that there's a lot more like bits and chunks of rock kind of strewn across the floor, like directly over the archway. And looking up, she can see that it almost looks like there's like a hole at the top there.
She's just going to try to climb up to go that way.
All right. I will say she'll start climbing. We'll see how well that goes next turn. Irazu and Yosefka. What's going on? How's that little promenade going for y'all?
Are we there yet, or how close are we?
You all have spent 1 round walking. You got 2 more rounds before you would get there at your current pace. If you want to pick up the pace, you can be there at the start of the next round.
Do I hear Tamsin yelling?
Make me a notice check. Let's see if you pick that
Okay.
up.
Oh, I do have notice. I didn't realize I had notice. Okay. A 1.
Okay. With a 1, you can hear that there's yelling. I think you can even recognize that it's Tamsin's voice. You just probably don't know what's being said.
Would I be able to invoke the aspect of dark cavern to see like if sound would carry more towards us? Like an echo?
Absolutely. Go ahead and bump that up to a +3 then. Or you
Okay.
can re-roll. Anytime you invoke an aspect, this is for chat. Anytime you invoke an aspect, you can either give yourself a +2 to the roll, or you can re-roll instead.
I'll just do the +2. I think a 3 is okay for this.
You say it's for chat, but it's also for me.
Yes, we do have other players who are new to the system, so it's kind of for everybody, but it's also for all of y'all out there doing fun stuff like watching us. With a 3 though, I think it's just like sort of like delayed. What was it? I'm blanking on the word.
Auditory processing.
Yes, delayed auditory processing. Thank you very much. It's like those weren't words. Oh no, yeah. Okay, she's talking about a tentacle monster. That's not good.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to debate if Usefka would be like, ooh, maybe I should move a little bit quicker to see if I actually need to be helped, or if she's like, so I think she cares about Halsey and she cares about Tamsin because she knows them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she'd be like, ooh, last time I was with Tamsin, she almost died, so maybe I should go there. So I think she would kind of pick the pace up. I'd be like, I guess make eye contact with Reizu. It'd be like not really wanting to tell him to hurry up because that's his choice, but just sort of a thing of like, I guess I'm going into this now kind of expression, and then jog a little bit, I guess.
Okay.
I am wearing high heels and having a large briefcase, so.
Okay. Can I ask you a question though? What is Dr. Yana's trouble?
I have too many exes.
That's it. The tentacle monster is one of Dr. Yana's exes.
What's going on here? What are you suggesting, Art?
The suggestion that I am making is that maybe there's a reason
The testicle
for that.
monster.
I am saying that there are some things that correlate, and perhaps not wanting to engage deeply with this is something that maybe doesn't really speak so well. And I will offer you a fate point for it if you just keep your current
Oh,
pace.
I see what you're saying. Oh, for sure. Definitely. I am definitely fine with you invoking that later.
All right, take your fate point.
Invoking that the tentacle monster is the ex of Dr. Yana.
No.
Making a note.
Marcus just saying, hey, you want me to screw you over later? Question mark, question mark, question mark. So
Cool.
So what is happening is that I am offering a fate point in exchange for invoking a player's trouble. It's one of their aspects. And by invoking said trouble, the player gets a benefit, and I get to nudge the story in a little direction. It is if the player so chooses. Feel free to take that. Just enjoy your walk. Just enjoy your promenade. Reizu, how you doing today?
So we can still hear them fighting down the shafts,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, now he's conflicted because
Yusuf has picked up the pace. So.
like if something's going on down there, what am I gonna do? Do you think if we go, we'd be a hindrance, or do you think they need backup?
Well, I don't mean this in a. Maybe I do mean it in a flirtatious manner. Who knows? You're a strong, strapping young gentleman. I'm sure if you needed to carry somebody, your assistance would be very well received.
Hundred raised was about 80. So he still does look like a young man.
I mean, sure. You're a crystal person. I don't
just
think
saying,
can
is 80
totally tell.
Hey,
Yeah, even the compliment just straight over his head, but he does like nod his head in agreement, like, yeah, they might need help.
hey, Sphinx, can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
What's Razor's trouble?
that he's photosynthetic.
It
He,
is darker, deeper in the cave.
yeah,
Less light. You really want to head that way? You want to take your time, maybe?
that's why I've been slowing.
Can I offer you a fate point to just let Dr. Yana, if she wants to go on ahead, she can.
Yeah, I'll take that fate point.
All
He's
right.
gonna
Thank
say,
you very much.
Rude.
I'd rather be. He's gonna say, I'd rather be careful in approach. We don't know how many of them there are.
That's a good point. All right.
But he will like hold the pickaxe tighter.
You're still moving. Just you're not picking up the pace. That's all. Can't say you're not going to help. You're just not running. That's all. It's dark.
Yeah.
You might slip on something. It's gotta be careful. Speaking of being careful, there's this guy who keeps trying, and I mean really trying. Our friend here, and I guess my friend, probably not your friend. And said friend he just wants to give everybody a hug. Just wants to give everybody a hug. So this creature is going to kind of pull itself forward, and I think Tamsin does have absolutely has an opportunity to not be in the direct path of this thing, but pulls itself forward towards Halsey. And when it gets there, it seems to kind of almost curl in on itself like a hand making a fist, and then you can just see all of those like coral barbs just extend out from it. I'd like for you to try and avoid that if you so choose.
Athletics.
Athletics. You can use fight instead if that's better.
No, it's not.
Okay. I think I am going to use. I'm going to dip into my pool right now. I am going to invoke some stuff of my own. I am going to have the creature invoke Darkened Cavern. It's a little bit harder to see, so picking out exactly where the attacks are coming from is going to be harder for Halsey. And I'm also going to invoke Active Mind. I get a very limited number of fate points. I get one for each player, and we're using a house rule where if people do not accept a compel, rather than them having to spend a fate point, I get one.
Oh,
So I'm going to dip into my pool.
He was trying to one-shot me. I see.
You could use all your fate points just to kill Snarf and get rid of him for the stream.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm also going to invoke Active Mine with all of the mining equipment, piles of rock, other assorted things. It's not as easy to move around as you might think. So I'm going to take that and bump that up by 4.
I'm just a tiny little rogue. I don't have that much.
You know what? You're not going to do this to me. You're not going to do this to me. That's what you're not going to do. You're not going to lie to these fine people.
I thought you were about to do the I'm just a little guy. Like, I'm just a little guy.
That's what he's trying to do right now. But you know,
Literally
that's
me.
fine. That's fine. And there's a for fight. This is that's a 9.
Okay, I have a 3.
You want to do something about those 6 shifts of damage?
I believe I got a success with style last time.
You
So I got a boost against them.
Yes.
Against my shooting. So I will add that +2 for a 5.
Okay.
6, 7, 8, 9.
You can invoke an aspect
Yeah, I could.
or a space one. What's that? What are they called?
No,
The field aspects.
I'm just weighing my options.
Is this a situation where you could spend a fate point to
Yes,
invoke one
yes.
of your own aspects?
Yes, definitely. It's just
Snarf,
I
Snarf
know.
is being strategic.
Yeah, I know my friend
okay.
Usefka, the doctor's right behind me. So
Is she?
I even if I do take damage, I think I'll be covered. So do I want to overexert myself this early when I know that my friend Usefka, Dr. Usefka, is right behind me? 4 shifts of damage. All right, I'll use a fate point to invoke Cooler Heads Prevail, and just through staying calm in a fairly bad situation, just try to wince at some of the damage and maybe not make it a full shot, and I'll take 2 shifts.
Okay. Since it was not a success with style, it's just some damage. That's all.
Don't worry about me. Usefka's right behind us. She's a doctor. She's great.
And speaking of, you can hear the sort of click, 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 click of some heeled shoes pretty quickly as she makes it here at the start of this turn. Players, what are you all up to?
Do I get to stab?
You definitely get to stabby stab. Carrie, you can see that after that second gunshot, the thing that was in front of you, as you're getting ready to reach up to climb over, you can see the thing that's in front of you is pulling itself free. And you kind of now get a sort of a sense of what it was there. it looked maybe like a really ugly tarp. Some pretty badly like soiled leather around a boulder or something like that was in front of the passage, and now you can see that there's this very large, sort of three-tentacled hand almost. It's kind of dragging itself forward with a couple of those fingers, and is just lashed out at Halsey with some barbs that sprang out from its entire body.
I apologize. Could I have evoked his consequence?
You could have invoked his consequence.
Could I evoked 2 of his consequences?
No, because there's only one left that hasn't been invoked.
That's fine.
I believe it was gunshot wound, and gunshot wound was used beforehand, if I remember correctly, and then you used impaled, I think.
Yes.
No, yes, you used impaled.
Yep. All right.
So it's just stab wound. I think.
Fine. Fine.
Sure.
I can make another consequence.
I'm the consequence.
Oh my god. Go ahead. Tamsin. Yeah, it's only a little bit of a trip to get back in position. Go ahead.
Yeah,
that
Tamsin is
roll.
gonna run and leap and maybe do a little flip, and then
All right.
stab the thing. And do I roll first and then add stunts and stuff? Is that what it is?
Yes. If you have a stunt that needs to like happen before things go down, just let me know.
Okay. Okay, that's a -1, but I have a +3, so that's a 2. And then I would like to use my stunt Leave My Friends Alone to add +2, so that's 4.
That'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about maybe also using a fate point to be really mad at it, but
You have a consequence to evoke.
Oh, yes, I'll evoke the stabbed consequence to do another stab.
All right.
So that's 6.
That is a success with style. Only rolled a 2. The players, not all my players know this. Snarf knows this. The reason Snarf is being conservative is because Snarf knows what my luck is like. This is why. It's A-OK. Consequence is the name of the rapier. Yes. Tamsin, that resistance that you were kind of looking for when you stabbed in the first time, now that you have a solid target, now that you can see exactly what's at the center of this mass, push your blade in, and whereas you had no resistance before, it almost feels like trying to push a stick down through the sand. You just kind of persist, and with that extra weight that you have from the very acrobatic flip, kind of just press it down with the extra momentum, and the entire thing sort of goes limp. And it seems almost as though like the moment that it stops living, whatever this living may be, it sort of deflates a bit. I would like for you to make me an athletics roll.
Oh, okay.
You are trying to overcome a 4.
So I rolled a 3 plus 3 is 6.
Okay. I imagine there's that sort of level of danger sense is still there, and rather than staying put to sort of admire her work for a bit, I think that Tamsin jumps off immediately once she knows the blow has been dealt, which is probably a good thing, because without the rest of the musculature, whatever that looks like, and tension to keep everything in, all of those spines immediately shoot out like a spike pit trap. They don't fire out and leave the body, but they do protrude immediately.
Ooh.
And then you can sort of see that like leather, like that disgusting grayish yellow, leathery skin sort of just kind of deflates underneath it.
Was
kind of
Halsey in the way? Halsey didn't get...
That's a good point. You are both in the same zone right now. Halsey, I also need you to make me that roll.
Sorry.
Oh, it's just typing.
Snarf just minding his own business, taking notes for everyone.
Just a little guy.
Athletics, and I need a 4.
Need to overcome a 4.
All right, it's good that I saved the fate point. I will. I athletics, right? 2. I will use a fate point to evoke tracker. My eye for things like this, for traps and such. I see it jut out, and I move before it's able to get me.
Okay. You have met this. You have not overcome it, however.
Use a field
Meets it,
aspects.
beats it.
Pile of rocks.
I have no more fate points.
Do you have to use a fate point in order to invoke a field aspect?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
But not
okay.
to invoke a consequence, right?
Not to invoke, not the first time anyway.
Can I get? Is there a way for me to give Halsey a fate point?
It's fine. I'm there.
yeah.
I'm
Okay,
definitely.
yeah, then
Yeah.
Halsey's here. We'll be fine. Everything will be fine.
If meeting it doesn't beat it, I wouldn't have used a fate point. No, wait. No, well, if I meet it, then there's no stress difference.
Mhm.
So if it's attacking me and I meet it, I beat it.
Okay.
Technically,
Technically.
I don't.
If it has a another ability, I'll like maybe a poison effect. I'll take the poison effect.
Yeah, I think that. Yes. Let me double check something real quick. Yes. That's fine. It's a minor cost. Halsey, you are able to sort of back out of the way, just in time. And to your knowledge, everything is a-okay.
Well, no, I don't like that.
I don't like that.
I would have rather taken the damage than that. But
You're gonna take
it's
worm
fine.
eyeballed.
It's fine. I don't
say that. I don't want anyone to get worm eyeballed.
I don't like the ambiguity. No.
Fine, don't worry about it.
All right.
Uh,
I don't have anything to worry about. My friend, the doctor, is right behind me.
Am I clippity cloppeting up to the doorway there?
yeah. And you come through just as you see this thing sort of poof, and then
What
just
in
kind
the
of
blue
goes.
river is going on over here?
Ooh.
Tentacle monster. See something new every day.
Does Halsey look like bloodied, I guess? Like bloody or whatever?
It does not seem to be doing too well. Halsey, I shouldn't say that's not true. That's not true. Halsey's all right. Just some injuries.
I'm a lithe person. So any damage I would take hurts me a lot.
Okay, well, if you look wounded, Sefka would treat your wounds. So it would be like, oh, Halsey, is anybody else injured? Leads into door frame to see what's going on, I guess.
Yeah.
I'd be on alert. See if there's anything else coming out to attack us from the shadows.
Speaking of anything coming from that direction, Carrie, what would you? whatever this thing is no longer moving. You, I think, would have been able to see the fantastic end, the way those sort of coral spines shot out. But you can also see very clearly that it is not moving, and it seems to be collapsed in a way that does not look like it's going to start moving again.
Is there I'm imagining it's like kind of like a catwalk almost.
Not in this section of the mine. They
Okay.
hadn't gotten that deep yet. They were literally going in to start that process, and they were to go in a little bit and then start moving downward.
I was just wondering if is there an easy way down from where I am?
Yeah, so right now it's no longer blocking the entrance. So if she really wants to climb up into what looks like the hole it might have come out of originally, she can, but she can also just walk straight out the way that she came in the first time.
What's in the hole that it came out of?
You can't see very well from this angle, but you can climb up there if you'd like to.
I'm going to climb up.
All right.
Carrie.
Literally everyone ran into his room to help her, and she's always like, "Oh, poke the hole."
Tamsin just, what is she doing?
Go ahead and roll me either an athletics to see if you are able to climb up there and get into the space, or a notice to see if you can kind of pull yourself up enough to see what's going on without having to get in there.
Why did I do this?
That's a good question.
Me, Bailey is like, no. Usefka's like, interesting. Yes, do this.
Okay, I got an average, but I have notice 3, so that's 4.
Okay. So she kind of, puts a foot up on the wall a little bit and gives herself a little bit of leverage to pull up and just look. And what you can see is it looks like almost looks like a boring drill had gone through the rock here, and kind of tunneled through this space. But when you look, you see that it's not just coming. It looks like there's a hole going straight through from the section that you're in now over the archway, the support that was there, into the space where everyone else is right now. But you can also see that it looks as though there was a path that's leading like deeper into the rock, making sort of like a T intersection there.
And can I see where the path goes?
There is no illumination here, so unless she's got a way to see in the dark, she's not gonna be able to see where it's going. She just knows that if it's running like this, there's another intersection coming off this way, going deeper into the rock.
Can I like poke my head down and ask if there's a light? If somebody has a light?
Yeah, absolutely.
May I make a suggestion? You can make a, what is it?
Are you talking about
resource?
The Egyptians
A resource check to see maybe you have a flashlight on you.
That's true.
Yeah.
I would like to do that.
Sure, go ahead.
Can Rezu walk up at this moment?
Yes.
Hearing this conversation?
Mm-hmm.
I got a 1 on that.
You do have a light. It's with the rest of your stuff. It's not like right here with you in the moment. You definitely have a light. You know what tools you need, but it's not on your person at this exact moment because you weren't expecting to have to come right back in here. Not like this.
If anybody looks at Rezu right now, you can see he's actually glowing. I'm gonna use a fate point to use shape up spells to use my light abilities to glow.
Absolutely. Sounds good to me.
What the hell is that?
But this is Carrie,
My-
so she's going to say, I need a light. There's a path up here. I want to see where it goes, and I don't have my light with me. It's in my bag.
Honey, darlings, everybody, I think when there's a crisis in the foot, everybody is supposed to regroup, not separate into different veins of a cave that has an active mine currently.
Do you have a light?
Yes, I smoke, but that's not important right now.
I don't think we're going to be able to get that person, Carrie, was it Carrie, to not go into this creepy hole. I think we just need to deal with the consequence of it.
I think the consequence is Halsey is currently bleeding out on the floor. So
It's all right.
Oh, we need to.
I
everyone don't worry about me.
Carrie, it's Halsey.
Did you get a doctor to pick you up?
Yes, there's a doctor here.
I'm the doctor.
Why don't I see you're investigating something. Why don't we all go together? Because we don't know what's exactly in there, and strength in numbers and such.
Okay. Yeah, Lucy's okay now. So, just a moment. I'll be down there.
Well, I'm glad that she listened to you at least.
It is good to have one person that should listen. That's for sure.
You hear, you see him holding his side and wheezing a little bit.
As long as it's not bubbling and you have like a hole in your lung or something.
Oh,
I'd like to do
jeez.
some sort of medical check.
Oh my god. I'll put that up. I'll keep that for later. But
I know how to treat that.
everybody, give me a notice check real quick.
One.
Go. One,
2.
1, 2. Carrie and Rezu.
Unless it's a medically based thing.
It is not medically.
That's a 2.
It's 2. Okay. And what does Carrie have for that notice?
It's 2.
2? Okay. Cool. I would say for Carrie, what she does notice is that as a little bit more of that brighter light that Rezu is giving off extends to where she is, she can see that it seems to, it's not just going like, if this is the path going back like from where Lucy is back into the main room, it's not just that this is going out this way, it seems to be going sloping down pretty steeply as well. So this thing seemed to have sort of poured up at an angle, and then maybe it was trying to go out one way and trying to go out another way at the same time, just kind of doing things.
So the path down would probably lead to where everybody is.
No, this is going to be angling away from that. But you do think you could like slide down it if you wanted to.
Why do you tempt me so?
Did this thing break through the rock wall?
So
That's what it looks like.
Drilled through it, right?
Yeah, that's who's asking everybody else.
It looks like it drilled through it. I'm gonna go check this out over here.
What?
I will do a medicine check.
Oh yeah, sure. Go for it.
I'm just concerned about the fact that the monster came from the hole in the ceiling, and now someone is climbing into the monster hole in the ceiling.
Is that? Oh, we should. That's the only one of them.
That's my worry.
I got a 4 for medicine. I'm patching Halsey up.
Yeah. What was the size of your? What was your injury? It was
2 stress.
2 stress.
Yeah.
Tis nary but a flesh wound. It's okay.
I can
that'll
uncheck
still
my
hurt,
2.
but yes. So
Okay.
that's been cleared out. Stress has been taken care of.
Pack the wound, wrap it up.
Okay.
I could do stitches later if you want.
Sure it'll heal over.
You just have to make sure you don't get it dirty because it's probably going to become a bacterial infection. And as disgusting as it is, mines are notorious for having ringworms. So.
As you say that, Carrie is sliding down the.
Yes. And what time is it? 9:59.
Sorry, you have a socially awkward character, and there's a lot of people there.
Nope, you're fine. It's totally fine. It's great.
Look, I too would love to just slide down a hole during many social interactions. I just give me a chute, please. And a pole too, old school Batman. I don't want to do this anymore. As Carrie slides down deeper and deeper into this dark expanse of this hole, I think this is a good place for us to take a quick break. We've been at it for a little while. Cares what's down the hole. We can talk about that later.
Why is it that every time we like end the episode, take a break, somebody is always running? It's Carrie. Carrie is always running into a situation, falling into a situation.
I really thought that Tamsin was going to be the one who caused all the problems in this party.
Well, I'm sorry. You
We
put
got room. We can do more than one.
changing the danger, and then you all were like saying things, and there was this really interesting other thing away from you all.
Somebody told her not to do something, so therefore.
I didn't say not to do it. Just wait for us.
There's a lot of you.
Understandable.
All right. We'll take like a 10-minute break. Give everybody a chance to recharge. People who are in not New York time zones probably want to do some things like get a little snack, get some water, get up and stretch, please. Just a small reminder, if you have any meds that you have to take, it's around that time. Just a quick reminder to take your meds. And we'll be back in 10 minutes. So.
Alrighty.
And welcome back, y'all. So nice to see you again. If you're just tuning in, don't worry, you didn't miss anything at all.
Just a tentacle monster.
Just a tentacle monster. Halsey is being patched up after his unfortunate interaction with whatever this is. And Reizu, I believe you are, last I checked, you were glowing quite brightly. Are you also moving towards the hole? Oh, I think you might still be muted.
Yeah, he doesn't want to lose sight of Carrie.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as they lose sight of him going down, Halsey runs.
Oh God, don't be running! This is not a good idea. Also, I'm imagining Tamsin also is running in.
Oh yeah, I mean, if everybody is heading after down the hole, Tamsin's also down the hole.
right.
Usefka's gonna grab a lantern off the wall.
Yeah.
Well, Razor never dropped the pickaxe.
I
Nor
might
should he.
might be picking up a pickaxe.
That's
There
a good
are a
idea.
couple of them.
I'll,
There are a couple of pickaxes if you want to grab one.
I'll
I will
pick up
grab one.
a lantern also.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
Let's add the aspect. Pickaxes and lanterns for everyone.
Yay! It's
Is
a
that
party
an
now.
environment aspect?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I'll lag behind a little bit. I'm gonna write a note and leave it at the door, I guess.
Okay.
Just like,
Yeah. There's like a work table for the foreman that has like some places where they're like making notes on things and stuff like that. Very, very easy for you to just grab what looks to be like a piece of charcoal for writing and just scribble something out real quick.
yeah, I'll leave a note for Ria, I guess, because she seems like the most capable person. That essentially tells her that we went down this hole and then put an approximate time, I guess.
Okay.
Went down the hole.
I didn't realize I was going to be the responsible one in this party, so let's go, I guess.
Yeah. I know the vibes. But the first person down this hole, however, is Carrie. Carrie, you slide down. It is mostly sliding. This thing is the thing that came through is very, very large. So this is a very big hole. And while there are definitely some jagged parts to it, it was not a perfectly even was not perfectly even as it came up and through. It was relatively smooth. It probably has something to do with the fact that a lot of the weight would have been resting. So you can see more of the jagged parts are on the upper portion. A much bigger person than Carrie, I think, might have to duck and weave a little bit more. But she can kind of slide down. And then she comes to a stop, not too far down. If she would have to guess, it's almost as if she went down from like an escalator, maybe like 2 stories. So not a dramatic drop in the grand scheme of things. And you can see that there is this chamber, and it really does have to be described as a chamber where there look like seeds almost. It looks like a mass of these knobby, slightly bulbous round things that are very familiar to Carrie. In fact, they look like the one that she's currently holding.
Like eggs or something.
I mean, they're not egg-shaped,
Okay.
but they do seem to be kind of... You see that there's almost like a central mass of something, and it's got like almost like a flower where it's got like leaves opened, like the petals opened up, and it's just kind of laying out. And you can see that in the almost like essentially as if they all rolled down from the center along these leaves or petals. You can see that there's sort of like just a sort of a sprinkling of these little round knobby objects like what you picked up.
Okay. Do I hear people behind me?
I would say yeah. I would say that you can hear that people are approaching. The sounds are getting louder, and you know who's out there.
You see a giant glow potentially, maybe, I guess.
Mhm.
If Reizu is glowing.
Yeah, you will definitely start to do that. Do you want to wait for the sounds that you're hearing, or do you want to look around a little bit more yourself?
I guess I'll look around a little bit more. I don't think I can get out easily.
Okay. It is very, very hard to see. You don't have a ton of light that's filtering through. And this space does not seem to be well illuminated. But I think that as she looks around, Carrie does notice that there is sort of a soft glow coming off of these little round objects. Because it occurs to her that where it is, with no lanterns hung anywhere, it should be pitch black down here, but it's currently not.
Okay, I guess because I don't know any better, I'm just going to get closer to the big glowy object.
Okay.
Well, it's not glowy, but slightly glowy, slightly illuminated.
When she gets closer, what is it that she's looking for? Is she just trying to get a sense of things?
Yeah, get a
Is
sense
she...
of things.
Okay. Let's go with investigate, or I'm thinking maybe lore for the other one. For everybody out there, I like to give my players some choices as to what skills they roll. Different skills will give you different information, different outcomes. So I try to give some different options. Yeah, let's go with notice and investigate for this, I think.
Okay. You know what? Notice. What do I get? I got 0.
Okay.
Can I use a 8 point and push it?
Do you want to reroll, or do you want to add a +2?
I'm going to reroll because I got a -3 on that.
Oh, yeah, that's... Yeah.
Okay, so that got me to a 0, so that's a 3.
Okay. With a 3, you are seeing that It looks almost like there's like a little. The center appears almost like a coconut tree, where you can see that there's. It seems like these knobby little things might have grown from it, because you can see like little divots that seem to be roughly the same shape and size as the little bulbs, for lack of a better term, that you picked up.
Okay.
It is difficult to pick out like an exact color for it right now, but you do know it's got to be somewhere in the like probably in like the lavender, purple, dark blue range.
Okay. I'm probably going to be looking over everything when everyone else arrives.
Mm-hmm.
Dangerously close to the weird thing I probably shouldn't be close to.
Well, probably about the time that you think that is when I imagine Reizu would make his way down. I'm going to assume that it's Reizu who has illuminated himself and thus made it easier for everyone to see than Tori, than Halsey. And then decidedly at the back of all of this, I think, being responsible and all that, is Dr. Yana. Okay.
Does Reizu slide down, or does he like roll down like a gem thrown down the staircase?
Oh, he slides.
Okay.
I'm just thinking Sonic.
Dr.
Tamsin
Yana would
slides
definitely.
in like a cool kid.
Hey,
Dr.
he-
Yana would definitely offer to carry you if you were gonna be sliding into it, especially after just telling you about like ringworms and caves.
I'll
Yeah.
I'll be fine. Thank you.
Reese was going down carefully because he was wearing some pretty expensive clothes.
We're so well prepared as a crew.
Rizu and Yana are both like, we look great. We're not meant to be here.
Tamsin
Dress
is
for an
in
after
their
party.
element.
Rizu literally glowing, not meant to be here.
I try
And-
walking down, but it's too steep, and I start running down it.
Is it like Spirited Away when Chiori like runs down the stairs and just like slams into the wall at the bottom?
No, thankfully. Well, actually, do you?
Why are y'all getting me in trouble?
I'm asking the question.
I
I'm
mean, I
asking.
said it. All right. Yeah, I did it.
Run down, and I think probably catch your shoulder on the edge of this sort of strange flower of some sort that's at the bottom there. And as you enter this space properly, Reizu, and your illumination kind of bounces off of the walls here. I think it's a little bit easier to see a couple of things. First, all of these knobby little bulbs. I think this is the first time that everyone who's not Carrie is seeing them. So you can see that there are about a dozen of them scattered around the interior of the room here.
What the hell is this? Can I do some sort of lore or something check?
Yeah, I want to do a lore check too.
Sure, give me a lore check.
Yeah.
If you would like to assist each other on checks, by the way, as long as you are trained in it, you can give somebody else a +1 to their roll.
Would we both be giving each other a +1?
No, one person rolls and gets +1s from
Okay,
everybody else.
my lore is at +2. What is your lore at?
+3.
Okay, so I'm going to
Minus
assist
+1.
you.
I'm smart. Okay, let's go. Ooh, okay. So that's a 5.
All right. Okay. It's very, how do I put it? It doesn't happen very often, but from time to time, depending on diet and genetics or what counts as genetics, I don't think that's a word that people use as much in this world. Um, Sometimes there'll be sort of like deposits that build up in the body, like just kind of nodes of like um, of different minerals, and I think that that is probably the closest that this comes in terms of being something that she understands. Like they look almost like these nodes that kind of calcified and like grew out of whatever this thing is. Because you can see as you look at it a little bit more closely that it doesn't look kind of like matching the shapes and the sizes to the places that they came from. It You can see that like there's still sort of an opening where it came from, and it looks like maybe like a little piece of some sort of material that's the same color is still in each of those nodes. So it almost looks like it grew off and then like rolled down the leaves.
Is it like, so it looks organic? It doesn't look like a rock or anything, right?
Looking at it in this light, it organic is generous. Um, but it definitely doesn't look like it's just another rock. It looks different.
Okay. So I guess the way that Dr. Yana would kind of do it is, I guess she would, I don't know how well everyone else would understand this. You know when you like break a bone or something like that, you injure yourself and that bone sort of calcifies, it becomes like larger, it like builds around the wound, scar tissue, this kind of thing. It's almost like mm, a not a tumor because that suggests that it's, you know, dangerous, but when it's sort of like, it's called budding. I don't know how well everybody else understands that, but it
Budding
looks like,
like a plant? This thing does look like a plant. Is it a plant?
yeah, budding is a term used for like organic material when something reproduces from outside of its own organic mass. But that's the closest thing I can kind of describe it as. It's sort of like a plant budding, but it's not exactly that. Uh, that's the best that I can gather from it. Can I get like a sample of it or something?
Sure. Do you want to get a sample of the plants, or do you want to get a sample of the buds? Those we'll call them.
Can I do a scraping, I guess, of the plants thing? Plant?
Sure. Go ahead and just mark that down. Just a little bit of a scraping. Um,
Yeah, I think Razor would start looking at the buds the that came off.
mhm.
My main concern is, are these things. Did this make that thing we just fought?
That's a concern, but is there anything that's like distinguishingly the same between them? Like color patterns, anything like that would kind of tie it together?
I would like to. I think that would be what Tamsin would be investigating. Would
Mhm.
be trying to figure out if this caused that.
Can my role give Tamsin some sort of bonus for like the information that I gathered for her sort of thing? Similar to
Um,
what Rezu did for gathering the background research for when I did my medical check?
got you. Hmm. This is going to be an investigation. I will say that people can, in the same way, sort of help each other, kind of propose ideas and things like that. To add that way, I don't think it'll give a bonus because this was a pretty difficult role to make that connection, and made it, but just barely.
Okay, I'll give a bonus to Tori's roll then. I have investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I also have
Okay.
investigate. Does that compound or just one?
No,
I got-
for each person.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
got a 3 plus. How many bonuses am I getting?
Is it a
one.
plus one each or plus
Yeah,
two?
it's plus one
Yeah.
for each.
Okay.
So plus 2 more, so that's a 5.
One
Three.
for me
Three
too.
total.
So 6.
Yep.
Okay. 6 is a solid success. Kind of grabbing the bits and pieces of information. I think Tamsin just like touches it. I think she just like grabs it and like specifically grabs one of the leaves. And even though it's not exactly the same in terms of the color, certainly not the same in terms of the shape, I think the texture and the sort of the feel of it is probably very similar to whatever she just finished stabbing.
Tamsin would go, I have a bad feeling that this is going to cause more tentacled problems for us.
And on that note, you were asking about the color. Now that you can see it more clearly, the color is very, very, very close to the thing that you just killed as well, for the buds specifically.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
While they're looking at that, I am looking at ways out, but also trying to see if there's more. Did you say there were more like tunnel things, or?
There are no more tunnels coming from this space specifically. If you want to look around, see if there's anything else you can pick up, especially now that there's more illumination,
Yeah.
feel free to give me a notice roll. Either notice or investigate. Or if you have other suggestions for other things you want to look at, please.
Going to do investigate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a 4.
Okay. I would say that with a 4, Carrie picks out that even though there doesn't appear to be any other tunnels or anything coming off, that wasn't necessarily always the case. You can see that there are some places where it looks as though some stone may have been kind of packed in, and so this chamber may have once been open. But it's almost as if there was a cave-in and then it was smoothed over to make the wall consistent all the way around.
Does it look like a person smoothed it over? Or like a more natural kind of.
It looks a little bit more natural, but
Okay.
it does not appear as though this room's overall shape is probably unlikely to have been a natural occurrence. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Because as you look around, the room is shaped like almost exactly like a semicircular dome.
I have a quick question.
Go
ahead.
Sorry, I was going to point that out to everyone, and then I'm going to. I found one of these in the by Lucy, so I don't think that was the only one, possibly.
Does the one that you found near Lucy look empty?
I can look at it.
Yeah, you take it out and it looks exactly like the ones that are in this room right now. Except the one that you found is a little bit smaller. These look a little bit bigger.
Is it like a deflated smaller, like something has come out of it, or is it just like
No.
smaller in size? Okay.
Like difference between like a baseball and a softball size.
Okay.
Maybe these are going to make even bigger tentacles.
Quick question. You said earlier when Halsey came into the room when the tentacle monster was first there, he recognized sort of like the smell of it was similar to the worm thing that Yusefka found.
And she would recognize the smell as well.
So that's kind of, yeah, so there's a connection here. Okay. Well, interesting developments. I found how much does everybody know here, Halsey? Do you know?
No, I think. Have I seen Reizu during my time here? He was the first one here, right?
Yeah. You've seen him in
In passing.
yeah, in passing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, as a quick lowdown, I'm sure everybody's aware of the circumstances in which there's been some oddities happening here. Um, there's a there was some deaths of some miners and a child found. Anyways, I had to do an autopsy on these miners that were deceased, and I found some very disturbing. What would you call it? How's he hangers on parasites
Right.
inside of the miners' octal sockets, where their eyeballs are essentially. And they seem very similar in some sort of make or mm,
The
genome as the things that are in this space.
How big are
Gross.
these orbs?
the ones that are in this room are about the size of a softball, whereas the one that Carrie pulled out was about the size of a baseball.
How are they attached to the wall? Are they?
They're not attached to the wall. They're kind of like on the floor in like as though they like grew off of the central mass and then rolled down the petals and just sat where they were. There is, however, I will say, the space essentially where one would have rolled down, that's in front of the tunnel, is not there. They seem to be in other positions, but not in the one in front of that.
I tell everyone step back for a second, and I step on one.
It is very, very firm. Do you want to continue to try and press down and crush it?
Like I can put my whole body weight on it.
Yeah. So it's there on the floor. You kind of put a foot down, and kind of you press down, like you expect, like you're gonna crush it, but it does not collapse in immediately.
Should we tell somebody about this? Like, I'm getting paid to be here, but I
Well, you
haven't
know
been
what?
paid
I'll go.
yet.
I'll go now.
What? You the one who jumped in here first. Where are you going?
It's a little
You've
crowded
committed to
here.
this line of inquiry.
It's crowded, and you all are doing such a great job. And I have to get. And she's just going to try to go
I'm
towards.
just gonna
the
put
tunnel.
my hands on her
You're-
shoulders. I'm assuming I'm much
Carrie?
taller than you.
Calm down.
Why did I say this, darling? The likelihood of us getting out of this situation in one piece is much higher if we stay together.
Okay, it's just a lot of you.
Just one
Can,
question.
can I do some sort of empathy check on her really fast?
Are you trying to figure out her situation, like how she's feeling, or are you?
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to figure out if she's about to have a panic attack. Like if she's claustrophobic or like some sort of scared of people situation.
Is she trying to hide any of those feelings?
No, she's not trying to hide. She's just not used to having this many people around her at once in the same room because she's used to her machines.
Yeah. So I think it's fair to say that comes off as well. Kind of a lot right now. This is a lot. This situation is a lot. Let's be honest.
I don't know why this seems like the right idea. Tamsin, will you come here for a second?
Yeah,
Why
absolutely.
don't you go guard the entrance with Carrie, and we'll take a look in here so there's no,
These
through
things,
route.
these things could turn into another tentacle monster at any moment.
I'm worried that something might be coming from the outside in a similar situation. Like if this is like a bear, is there bears in this world? Bear mama, bear cub situation, and we haven't met mother yet.
I think the plant's the mom.
Potentially, I don't know.
Fine. And then walks over to the entrance of the tunnel.
Yeah, well, before that, I need an answer to that question though.
What question?
Yes.
Putting all of his weight down to crush this thing.
Yep.
I'm sending Carrie with you, Tamsin.
As Tamsin and I guess Carrie are getting ready to make their way over, Halsey, you almost like without raising your foot, it's like going from like a press down to like a full on stomp. And you can where do you think he was injured when he was attacked?
I pictured it like a oh, when the spines would have hit him,
Yeah.
somewhere on his shoulder.
You press down with a boot, and as it cracks, you can see less like what you just saw and more like what's a much larger version of, well, you see tentacles kind of come out of this thing, kind of burst out from the sides, and they kind of raise up a little bit and then go limp. And the look of them is a lot closer to what Dr. Yana pulled out from inside the eyeballs.
Mm. Do they deflate like the dead thing?
Mm-hmm. They do not. You do kind of pull out. I imagine you probably pull your foot back, but they don't release spines like they did before. And this looks more like a mass of like vines almost, like kind of roping out.
Remind me, Ark. The cut on these people's ankles were not clean like they would be from a surgical device, right? They were kind of, I don't want to say jagged, but they definitely weren't like sliced like a knife or a sword or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Have fun stepping on that, Halsey.
Right. And
but it does. It makes that movement, and you hear that same sort of like stomach gurgling sound when you do, and then it just stops.
And how many of them are there?
Now there are 12 if you include the one that Carrie is holding.
12. All right.
Should we them?
Huh?
Should we crush them? Should we maybe crush all of them?
Maybe pile them up and set them on fire.
Maybe you should see if they burn first. Because if it's like liquid based, it's not going to burn. Or also, there are certain type of plants that when they meet fire, that's what makes them like bloom or open. So maybe an experiment first before you do all of them.
Right. Is there a bucket around here?
Also, you know what? I definitely have like a vial or something. But you know what also would be helpful, Halsey, is if we took apart some of your bullets and we used the gunpowder.
Could do that.
You make it a bigger explosion than just fire, you know?
Right.
Quick question. I know combustive weapons aren't my specialty, but should we be making an explosion in an enclosed space in a mine?
Definitely not while we're standing in it.
Right.
But that's a good point. We might be able to just find like I don't think TNT's a thing, but there's definitely like packed explosives that they used to use. They used to use like packing rods to do it.
I can come up with something.
I'm still skeptical about making an explosion in a mine.
No, you all just have to get into the tunnel, and can I see what you all have?
I think at the moment that Carrie asked that question, you can hear sort of a sliding from above. A couple of little pebbles kind of come loose. Welcome, Raiders. I hope you're having a good night. A couple of these
We're
pebbles
about to have a bad night.
pebbles slide down the slope, and you can hear sort of the slow like shuffle. And there is enough illumination from what Reizu's giving off that as you sort of turn to look up the tunnel, you see just a person. It's a medium-sized person, I suppose.
Like right where Carrie and Tamsin are.
Or where we were walking over to. I
Where
don't
they were
think we made
walking
it
over to, yes. And I believe this person should be familiar to both Dr. Yana and Halsey, because the last time that you saw this figure, they were laying in a bed.
I never actually saw them.
Oh, then I guess it's just Halsey then.
Oh, that's the kid.
What's worse than a tentacle monster? A child.
No.
Oh my god. And this child is wearing just sort of like this, grayish hospital gown sort of attire that you saw on the bodies as before Yosefka and Usefka. There we go. And this child comes to the end of this slope and continues walking.
Apprehend him?
And as this child gets over, they bend down and pick up one of the buds.
I am not
Tamsin
going
is
to let that happen.
Pointing her
Can
sword at this kid.
can I do a empathy to try to figure out what's going on or what the kid is up to?
Sure, give me a roll.
I only have a 2 on this, so
My action would be to smack the thing out of the child's hand and be like, no.
+1, so +2 is 3.
It appears that the child, they seem like, it looks like they're awake, like their eyes are open, they seem to be kind of paying attention to the world, but they're kind of almost in a trance, it seems like, as they're walking through this. And the child bends down and picks up one of these buds, and then just kind of looks down as Dr. Yana slaps it out of the child's hand.
Tamsin is brandishing a weapon at the child and says, "Don't touch."
Don't stab children, Tamsin, but also we shouldn't have a child in here.
I'm very concerned about these buds.
And the child kind of just points down at it and looks up, very confused.
What's wrong, kid? And I just snap. You there?
How many different languages do I know?
There really is just there are a couple of different languages. It'd be more like dialects, I think, than like true languages in the valley here.
I'll cycle through what I know quickly to see if maybe this child just doesn't speak the main dialect.
Yeah. I think at the time that Dr. Yana hits probably the oldest of the dialects, is when the child kind of looks up and in what kind of only makes sense is
I get like my imagination, the way that you said that makes me think of it's more the like you use Latin in medical terms, right? Like she uses like an old version, like essentially what would be our version of Latin.
Yeah.
Which is like you can understand it kind of as an English speaker because there's so much root in it, but like
absolutely.
something like that.
And so it seems kind of like the child like picks up on that and then just you see the child kind of raise their, like they're pointing with one hand, but then they just kind of raise their hand and just mime an eating
Oh.
sort of motion.
Baby miming, just like I know a little bit of sign language.
It's not full on sign language, just kind of like pointing at it and just like,
Like it wants to eat.
yeah.
I pull out a biscuit.
You eat or it eats? Like, is it eating us or are you eating it? I feel like that's an important distinction.
Yeah, and the child bends down to pick it up again.
No. Maybe tell us what you're going to do before you put something in your mouth. Also, weird translation of like, don't do that. Latin.
And the child just looks at Yana, Dr. Yana, and again makes this eating sort of hand motion, and then like opens their mouth to like to kind of emphasize that it's an eating. And as you all look at this child open their mouth, you can see that the interior is stained with the same sort of yellowish, like yellowish purple tinged um, substance that you saw leaking out of the creature that you stabbed upstairs.
Oh.
Oh, don't like that.
And the child points down and says, in this older dialect, I'm hungry.
Well, I guess that would take care of some of these buds.
Why this? Like, why are you trying to eat this?
Um, Child seems to be thinking through an answer to that.
Hmm.
And we'll find out what the answer is in a couple weeks.
Oh no, we're ending so early today. No.
The kid wants a snack.
Baby wants snack.
We didn't get a chance to do a proper introduction. So I most definitely want to make sure that we do a proper introduction on our way out. Let's what order? I think we did reverse order last time. So let's yeah, let's start with Sphinx. Let's do that. We'll just do that. We'll just
Going on, Sphinx, Orion, whichever one is easy for you to pronounce. I've been playing Reizu, Crystal Folk, Gem Cutter. You usually find me lurking in different people's channels. Find me on Twitter, Sphinx RL.
fantastic. Who is next? We're gonna go clockwise around the overlay. There we go. Words.
Me then, I suppose. Okay, so Bailey or Skepsis 3, I'm playing with Sefka or Dr. Yana, whichever one is easier for people to say, specifically because Yusefka is weird, name-wise, also, I guess, personality-wise. But, yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Skepsis 3, or at the company that I work with, Action Fiction. I'm not going to be here next week, so we'll see how this goes, having to deal with a child. I am having surgery and I really hope that I can make the same voices that I'm doing right now. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. Next up is Janie. Tell the people where they can find you.
Janie Pot 75 online. And I was carried today. I don't have anything else to say.
No worries. next will be Tori.
Hi, my name's Tori. You can find me on the internet everywhere as that nerd Tori, including on Twitter, literally anywhere else. Sometimes I stream on Twitch when I have my shit together, but you can catch me tomorrow on the Twitch channel Dexara19 for a charity one-shot of a game where we're all kobolds causing trouble, just being little guys. And we're raising money for the Parkinson's Foundation, so that's going to be really fun. You can catch us 3 p.m. tomorrow, Dex, or 3 p.m. EST, Dexara19 on.
All right. Thank you very much. And Snarf.
Solid Snarf. I'm playing Halsey, and you can find me at Solid Snarf on Twitter.
I forgot to say who I was playing. I played Tamsin.
Yes.
She's a little sword fighter. Okay.
All right. Oh.
What about you,
I almost.
Ark?
Well, yeah, but I forgot something very important. Elsewhere in the mine,
Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay. Take my nose back out.
a much smaller figure sits. A larger woman is wrapping bandages around his head, covering an eye that seems to have suffered some sort of injury. And the smaller man says, "She was so fast, I didn't even see her do it." Not much else to see, is what the larger woman says to him. And you said she ate it? She ate it. We have to go tell him. I know. And he's not going to be happy. That's all. And I have been your game master, Ark Dragon Breath. You can find me at Ark Dragon Breath all over the internet. Definitely not spelled the way it is on the captions, because you all know how captions work. I usually thank you for the raiders who came in. I just saw that there. Thank you so much for popping in. I am going to be streaming tomorrow, like so many people. I'm a Zelda fan. You probably couldn't tell. I don't know how you'd figure it out. I'm going to be streaming more Tears of the Kingdom. I've been playing that for a bit. Happy to get some more of that done. So I'll be doing that noon on my own channel, Ark Dragon Breath, same as my name here. And you will be able to catch me doing other stuff on the internet. Follow all these fine people on socials. You can also follow me too if you want. And we will see you in 2 weeks for episode 3. Have a good one, y'all.
Dressing me out, Ark.
You all have a great night. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.